you guys? How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. So today we're going to talk about a bunch of different cases, but we're going to start with Sebastian Rogers' case. I've covered it here some minimally, but for the last couple of weeks, I've been telling you guys I really had a lot to say. I have some things to say about many different things. I've been just jotting down notes every time I have something to say, and we're going to flip through some of that and also talk about a post that I actually shared yesterday from Chasing Truth's channel and from Seth's mom. I want to get into a bunch of that stuff. Then we're going to go into some cases that really aren't being talked about. So I do a series here called True Crime News. And in that series, we just flip through, read the latest headlines, go to the local news, kind of figure out about these cases that really aren't being talked about anywhere else. As far as like YouTube or whatever, there just maybe an article or two about it. So we'll kind of go through all of that. So that's the plan. Let me say hello to you guys and we'll get started. Hey, Hippie Chick. Hey, Nicole B. Hey, Mark. Hey, Crystal. Let me turn this off because we're about to go outside anyway. Hey, Nonsense. Good to see you. Hey, Adrian. Hey, Tess. Now I've already lost who I've said hi to. Hey, Rainbow Mom, Crystal, Nicole B, Mark, Jennifer. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Ange, Mayla's mom, Candy Kisses, Bo, Teacup, Kathy, Nicole B. I think I've already said hi to you. Hey, Ava. Hey, Sherry. Hello, everybody. Anybody I missed, thank you for being here. Hey, Humanimal. So the internet is a weird place. It just is, and some of the things that have been happening with this case in particular, with Sebastian being missing, have me where it's hard to even talk about it because I don't want to add to the messiness and the nonsense. Did you see what I did there? Hey, Amber. Hey, Adrian. Okay, so first, let me see. We're going to start with this. With his flyer. So I'm sure many of you guys know, Sebastian was last seen February 26th. It's been a while now. When he first went missing, there really wasn't a ton of coverage out there about it. I remember Music City Mom, a couple of you guys who had been, trying to bring it to my attention, and also other people that were offline that just know that I have a YouTube channel that are in that area and stuff, and have tried to bring it to my attention. And really, there wasn't a ton of coverage of it. Then all of a sudden, it picks up and it's everywhere, and that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. When it becomes a bad thing, it spins out of control. And there are just all these different little pieces I want to go through today to that I have things to say about that I've been kind of taking note of along the way. So this was the flyer. I went and grabbed it from TBI's Facebook page. They also had these photos along with it. So I thought that I would grab those too. And then we're going to start here. So it's, like I said, the internet's a weird place. People are almost divided over who supports this parent and who supports this parent. And it's like two sides fighting back and forth, not everywhere, but in some places. And it's weird. So I appreciated this post so much because this actually comes from Seth's mom. Now, as many of you guys know, Chris and Katie have been, they've done some interviews and they've gotten a lot of backlash. They've been stalked and followed into restaurants. It's truly unbelievable. I can't even get over what this has turned into. It's quite disgusting. But so she's gonna touch on the polygraph stuff in this. Let me just read it to you, and then we'll get into the other things that I wanted to point out. So she says, I had a long discussion with the special agent in charge of the TBI today. And first, let me just pause here. I've heard it said over and over again, TBI never gives updates. That's the problem. That's not true. They gave us an update when the picture wasn't Sebastian. Did they not? So, I mean, they do. It's just, if they don't have anything to say, similar to Summer's case, if there is no evidence, if there's nothing to say, there's not going to be an update. I don't believe that TBI is intentionally vague or intentionally, doing anything wrong. That's just where I'm at. So she says, I just want to clarify a few things and hopefully help stop some of this drama. I am so sick to death of all the trauma vultures out there and conspiracy theorists. Remember, this is Sebastian's grandmother. Okay, so when you hear her say that, I don't know, this just hit me in the heart. Go, grandma. That's all I can say. Go, grandma. She says, I want all of this to stop and be for the focus to be where it should be. Finding Sebastian. Number one, TBI has interviewed both Chris and Katie extensively. Number two, they have both been polyed and passed. Yes, Kate took more than one poly and passed. So we're going to pause here for a second because the polygraph has been, since all the Nancy Grace stuff, it's been a big topic of conversation. You had all these people, why won't Chris take the polygraph? Why won't he take the polygraph? And then if they hear that he did, they switch to, well, polygraphs mean nothing. They're not admissible in court. It's just the fact as if he would take it. Actually, on Nonsense's channel, which, do I have it in the Nightbot? Let me see. Because she shared this video that it was truly unbelievable the way that Katie was being spoken to. I just can't get over it. And that was kind of the theme that person was talking about with the polygraph when they were onto that subject. It's all about if they would take it. Well, who the hell's going to take a polygraph for a TV show? Nancy Grace is nobody. I wouldn't take one for Nancy Grace. Oh, thank you, Ava. Okay, I didn't know if it was in there or not. That's true, Amber. Law enforcement can lie in investigations to protect them, so they could be lying about them passing the polys. Could be a possibility. They tell people stuff to make them feel safe when they build a case. I do know that that's true, but I mean, I don't know about how likely that I think that is, but it is a point. Okay, so let's go on to number 3. It does more harm than good to keep delving. I think that's what they say, delving into everyone's background. I understand the concern of whether Sebastian might be with his other maternal grandmother, but really, is all this necessary? Now, that is about because Chris's parents, they were blamed. It was put out there and talked about all over YouTube as if they could have him. And even Seth's mother says it's unnecessary to get into her background and stuff like that. It's harmful. It does more harm than good. Thank you, Ava. Hey, Bendy. Hey, Woofy. Hey, Crazy Mama. Hey, you guys coming in. Okay. So then she goes on to say, please, if you have credible tips, call them into law enforcement, Sumner County, Tennessee Sheriff's Office, or 1-800-TBI-FIND. You have no idea how much your speculation has damaged my family. This just reminds me so much of that post I posted the other day of Maura Murray's family and them talking about how it hurt their family. None of them had anything to do with her disappearance. All they were guilty of was having a loved one disappear, and it destroyed their lives. Jen says, usually the lie works the other way. They tell the suspect they failed when they actually passed. Interesting. First Summer Wells, then Sebastian. Hey, Kat. Yeah, it's very similar. Hey, Angie. Okay. Again, you have no idea how much your speculation has damaged my family. That hurts. Like, that freaking hurts my heart. That's not what we should be doing. But let me just keep reading. Yes, I am guilty too. But what am I supposed to think when Kate was the last one with him and all this negative information is being spread around? Please let law enforcement handle this. If you want to search, hand out posters, flyers, etc., please do so. But the rest of this has to stop. Do not react to negative outbursts. You are just perpetrating the drama, and we, the Rogers, and then it was cut off. And I didn't even go try to find it because it didn't appear to be public. So I just shared what Chasing put out. Hey, Crime Crochet and Coffee. Okay, let's go outside, you guys. Hold on a second. I know I'm going to need a cigarette for this conversation. Hey, Tiff. You know, I don't see anything wrong with speculating, but I think that there's a line. I really do. And I don't think these are bad conversations to have. It's, a big conversation with this case in particular. I think, and some people think no speculation at all. And I could see that. I kind of feel like if it's based on facts and you're responsible, it's okay. But I don't necessarily think that's what's been happening. Actually, I know that's not what's been happening. Okay, so let me get to my little list of things I wanted to talk about. Let me take this off, though, because I screenshot my own messages to myself. Actually, I'll just show you. So these are more things I wanted to talk about. The other day, there was a video that went out. I'm sorry, but this here, remains found in retention pond. Sebastian Rogers, remains found in retention pond in Mississippi. This ran all through me. What the hell? I can imagine the family seeing that or something like that. I mean, we have seen other people find out updates about their loved ones on YouTube. So I've been wanting to do this live for a while, and I had way far back messaged all this stuff here to myself for us to talk about. But it was so far back, and we've talked about so much since then, that I just went back and grabbed a screenshot of it. So let me just stop the screen share, though, because it's not really necessary. First thing I want to talk about is this phone call to the non-emergency line. A lot of people are speculating that they called the non-emergency line because it wouldn't be recorded. Sorry, I'm shaking up my coffee that was out here. First of all, we know for sure the non-emergency line is recorded in at least most places, because remember that whole thing when it was said I supposedly made a phone call that wasn't me? That was to a non-emergency line. Those calls are also recorded. That's just the truth about it. Unfortunately, that's life. When you ask for help, especially from the internet, you can't cherry pick what part of your business the public can get into. I don't agree with that, because I don't think people ask what is the relevance of Chris's mom's background? I think, and this is actually, I'm glad you said that, because it was one of the things I wanted to talk about. If you look, let's see if it's on this. Look, if you look at my little notes to myself, the next thing is the phone call cameras asking for public's help, and all coverage is good coverage, that kind of thing. So I disagree with that. I think asking the public to be on the lookout for this kid, they're not asking the public to investigate the case. That's for law enforcement to do. Of course, online sleuths and stuff are going to do that, but I think there should be a line. But they weren't asking for the public to investigate the case. They're just asking, if you see this child, call 911. That's kind of the way I see it. But okay. Now, let me see here. One of the next things I wanted to talk about was this 3-hour phone call. For me, I don't think that's odd. If you're at home, especially, we don't know what kind of relationship they had. And I don't know. I just don't see that as odd. I know a lot of people who sit on the phone for hours and hours while they work, while they do other stuff. Hell, I'll have phone calls with Woofy and Melissa, and we'll sit there on the phone for 3 hours, 4 hours. So I don't know that for me, I don't know. Says, I've honestly hit the anger phase, because what's being done to Katie is beyond comprehension. Well, I'm telling you what, I was absolutely disgusted the other day when you played a video on your channel of a woman screaming to Katie, I know you have him. Where's he at? I know you have the answers. Where's he at? I'm doing more for your son than you are, because she wasn't talking in the public. And this is a YouTube channel, not somebody out there searching or anything, just a person going live on YouTube. And then saying things about her, if she was pregnant before Sebastian. I'm not even going to repeat it all. It was absolutely disgusting. How does that help? What? I I just truly can't comprehend why people think that that's okay or any of that is their business. It's yes. Oh my God. That was so infuriating. Hey, Grandma Sherry. Hey, Jujubee. Okay. So all coverage is good coverage. That whole thing. I'm curious what you guys think about that because I disagree. I think that coverage that is full of misinformation and disinformation can only hurt. It can't help. How's that going to help? That doesn't make any sense. How is getting out there and putting out a bunch of mis and disinformation going to help? I don't understand that. And I feel like I really want to talk, like, I have been asked why I think, like, why I support, like, the channels that kind of call out these things and stuff like that. I don't see how you couldn't. Some, like, when you, like, for instance, the video I was just referencing, the "Where's he at, Katie?" and, going into all kinds of other disgusting stuff. I cannot watch that. I don't know how anybody could watch something like that and think that was okay or that it could help. Or the thumbnails, the pissy pants thumbnail. Dear God. I mean, I can't even say some of this. It makes me sick. So I don't know. It's just frustrating. Amber says, I find it odd only if it isn't a normal pattern on call logs. I also think it's odd she was sleeping, then changed it to talking on the phone, then also said she was reading for school. Well, I mean, I don't know that. Like, I never felt like she had changed her story like that. But like I said, I don't know. I talk on the phone like that. And if it was my loved one and he was at work and I don't know. It just depends what's happening in their relationship. I just didn't think it was that odd, honestly. And you guys are free to your opinions. Don't get me wrong. I want you to share no matter what. Truly, I have some friends who kind of disagree with me about some of this stuff, and that's okay. But I want to be able to share kind of my thoughts on it as well. You know what I mean? Okay, so the next thing on my little list, Chris's parents. Why? That is just, I don't even know why put something like that out there into the internet. Like, really, even like these recorded phone calls, because this is another thing that was on my list. Recording somebody on the phone, if you truly think that anything they said would be helpful in the investigation, YouTube is the last place for it to go. The last. It should not be on here until after there's a trial. There is a reason that police officers hold their evidence and don't put it out in the public until trial. It's just like these private investigators calling into live shows and stuff. I don't understand that. There is a reason, like I said, while investigations are often tight-lipped until they go to trial. And then after the trial is when you get to get all the files and the records and the phone calls and listen to whatever you want. Okay. It's one thing to examine and deep dive into a case that has a convict versus an active investigation. There are some people who have the dumbest theories. Teacup, I just love you, but I agree. It's really got me at a point where it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's important to cover the active cases too, especially missing kids and stuff like that. And if you can bring awareness to stuff like that, but I don't think you should be like deep diving active cases. I think putting it out there, sharing flyers, I don't know, because I think it just makes everything messy. Now, one case that I know so well, and we have looked at together, many of you guys on my channel, Letitia Stout case, her trial, and afterwards her jail files, all that stuff, the case files. We have looked at everything. And truly, it is unbelievable if you go back to the live streams that were happening before trial. We had neighbors, sound familiar? We had neighbors that were, Gannon's friends' parents coming out and blaming Al, making the wildest accusations about him coming home earlier than he did, about him and a gun, about like all this stuff. And I'm telling you, the whole internet was blaming him, or at least one side of it at a point in time. We finally, 3 years later, make it to the trial. And we find out every single step he made during those days, every step he made, and he had nothing to do with it, nothing. Then you hear those pretext calls where the FBI has him recording phone calls. They're with him, with Letitia, trying to catch her up because she leaks and she spills stuff out. And the more she talks, little hints and clues and things like that were coming out. But when you hear those back and you find out this man was going through that torture of talking to her for hours and hours, the most awful things about Gannon being said, she's coming up with all these stories about people breaking in and SA and all this stuff. And Al had to sit through that, right? And all the while he's being blamed for being involved and he wasn't. I cannot imagine. Hey, Trulia. Hey, you guys coming in. Hey, Chase. Hey, Grace on Wheels. Hey, Claus. No need to bash parents and convict in the court of public opinion. The psychology of that case intrigues me. Jujubee, it does me too. That's like, we joke like it's a dark hole you fall in because there's just so much. And the psychology of that monster, she's something else. It is pretty wild to kind of look at and study, for lack of a better word. Patricia says people seem intent on demonizing a parent or family member and then get into competitive demonizing. It's disgusting and so arrogant and far removed from the tragic situation in hand. Well, you're exactly right. It's just like this, why are there like some people that are bashing one side and some people that are bashing the other? Honestly, for me, I think it's all wrong. I think I'd be a hot mess if my kids were missing. I'd probably relapse, number one. So you'd probably see me all messed up. Would that mean that I had something to do with my kids going missing? You know what I mean? And God forbid that would ever happen. I'm just saying, if it did happen to me, I would be a hot mess express already more than I am. Right. And I don't know. Oh, thank you, Lou. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. As much as we like to pretend, none of us are investigators on this case or any case. So you just have to be so careful when covering open cases. I agree. Hey, Landry. Al has stated over and over he didn't give a crap about what anyone on the internet said about him or the case. He held it together for Gannon until he was found. Hats off to him for that. I cannot imagine. And yeah, I think they just, I don't know. I don't know how he did it. And you know what, though? I see Ashley says, I'm not calling them killers, but Chris is not a good human. And we can feel how we feel about people or whatever. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean they were involved. Like, there's a lot of assholes out there I don't like, and it doesn't mean that they would do something like this. And I'm sorry, Adrian. I have to think that there would be some evidence found of it at this point, but I like the way you think, Allie. That's the reason you're my favorite. I love you so much. You're amazing. Oh, Maria, thank you. And I love you back. And thank you. Same, Alex. That's the only way I'll go back to that life. But I pray neither of us ever have to find out. That's exactly how there is nothing in this world that could make me relapse except for losing my kids, because I think then it's a wrap. Like, truly. So I can't imagine the mess I would be. MK says, discussing cases and its legit proven details and bringing awareness to a case is one thing. All the other chaos caused by wannabe YouTube investigators for clicks, views, money, disgusting AF. Kathy says, my question, do you even know him? That's true, because you're only seeing one side of him, and no wonder he's aggravated. You know what I mean? Look at the things he's been accused of. And so Mark says statistically, most likely involved. That's true. Statistically, it's usually somebody close, but not always. Hey, Lil Red, I'm okay. Okay, hey, Legendary. Let me just check on you guys. Amber says, I like to listen to the experts. Even they were saying Madeline Soto's mother was displaying not your typical behavior for a mother in her circumstances. I don't know, people with PhDs, retired law enforcement, etc. I like to listen to the experts too, but Coffindaffer has proven that just because you are ex-law enforcement doesn't mean that you have any sense at all. Okay. Let me see my next thing here. Okay, now this. Supposedly, Sebastian has been treated, so horribly at Chris and Katie's, right? That's what one side will have you believe. Just 1 second. Hold on. Okay. Now, so many people have said that, he was so miserable there. He was treated so horribly. They make fun of him, this and that. When I've not seen them make fun of him at all, but whatever. And, when Dietz, she wrote down on a piece of paper, she reviewed the interviews and she wrote down every time they said something positive about him versus maybe not so positive. And there was way, way, way more positive things. But speaking of experts, we might pull up the behavior panel in a second because they've reviewed one of these interviews as well. But okay, back to Sebastian being treated so horribly there. If that's the case, why is it that he didn't want to leave? He didn't want to. I know, the homeschool situation, right? But still, to me, if he was being treated so horribly, it doesn't compute to me, and I have to point that out. It just does not add up. Okay, let me go on to the next one. Okay, now the pressure washer, the mattress in the garage, the pull up, all of those things to me are rumors that have spun out of control. You will hear so many things out here, people who are absolutely positive and certain about what they're saying, and it's not even true. And that's the problem, and there's so much coverage of it. I don't know how you can weed through so many interviews and phone calls and this and that. And how do you weed through it all to verify some of this stuff? I don't know. It's very frustrating. The next thing on my list, which I've already mentioned, was these recorded phone calls and private investigators. It's so interesting that a professional person like that doing something like a dog handler or a PI is going to be calling into YouTube shows and stuff like that. Like, I just don't, that also doesn't compute. I feel like those are things that should be private. If it was so horrible there, why didn't Seth fight for custody? That's my thing. Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but if, I do know that he wanted him to wait it out a little while. And to me, that says that he felt like he was in good hands at the time. I mean, I don't know. Adrian says it's just a feeling, but I think they know what happened. It's only a matter of time. Ooh, Teacup says Deception Detective did an analysis where he compares his assessment against the behavior panel. It was interesting. How does any of our views and opinions of these parents help this lost boy? It makes zero difference, and that should be the yardstick we speak of the case by. That's a good point. Helping. Is this information, is me putting this out here, is me having a conversation for hours about this or that, is that going to help? That would be a good yardstick to measure by. Ashley, I mean, I don't know the details of that, but based on what I've seen, the way that I took it was CPS didn't feel there was a problem. Oh, you got Abellis, the Northern Lights. Oh my gosh, it was too cloudy here, but Malicious Intent, I shared a photo she got. Oh my God, I can't get over how beautiful that was. Hey, Tammy's Clips. I don't know. These are just different points that I think are important to notice. Another thing I wanted to talk about that's on my list, the cameras, okay? Because now I'll be honest, in the beginning, when I heard there was no camera that caught him, I was like, whoa, that's kind of weird. That stood out in my brain, right? And I thought about it. Well, then I purchased these new cameras for the inside of my house. And I found out, because I have two little ones running around, like one right after the other. Let's say they run in my house. The camera is right at the front door, and it will catch the whole entire, like from the front door all the way to the bedroom door. There are times where my camera has only caught the second one, because I guess the first one made it go off, and only the second one is on the footage. That's a fact that I've seen myself in my own home. So, not to mention, it's very dark on that road and other things too. So I just want to bring up these little points because I have a little bit of a different point of view. And like with this, for instance, I've seen for myself that the camera doesn't always pick it up, especially if there's only one person, because there are times that I've walked through and the camera has turned on after I walked through and gotten nothing. I took this new picture myself with my phone. Oh my gosh, Abellis, that is beautiful. That is just so cool. There's a delay. Yes. Tess says Chris could be the worst human on earth, but until law enforcement tells us that he's the one who is guilty and arrest him, it's not our job to condemn or convict him because we do not know yet. You are so right. But as we know, CPS F's up a lot. That's true. Hey, Titanium Built. Yeah, I got to give you that point. That is true with CPS. They definitely don't always do the best job. Hell, even the case I talked to you guys about yesterday, Melinda Hoagland. She was, which I need to go, I think there was some misunderstanding what I was saying, but this little girl was pulled out of school after the teachers alerted CPS that there was something odd going on. She was pulled out of school and put on homeschool while she was being chained up under the table and stuff like that to be able to be on camera for cyber school. And where is CPS? Because now the little girl is deceased. So, I can't argue with you guys there. They do. But still, I'm at the place where until law enforcement says someone is a suspect, someone is not cooperating, they're cooperating. Until we hear that, until we hear there's been an arrest, is it helping or hurting the case? Because if anybody truly cares about Sebastian being found, isn't that the goal? I don't know that a lot of this stuff is helping that. And I just think about him sitting at home, or not at home, but sitting wherever he could, like say he's hiding out somewhere and potentially seeing the things that are being said. Oh my God. No, you can't remove them, but did they even go? Was there even an open case? Because if so, you'd think that there would have been some things that they would have found. That's my thing, Natasha. I need to wait to know more, but oh, Angie, I love you guys back and appreciate you. If it's not helping, if he is hiding, he probably won't come out. Can you imagine? Every personal thing about that baby has been blasted out and used for content. Every personal thing about him. I'm not even going to get into what those things are, because we all know. Most true crime channels are 18 and over, so that's good too. Yeah, but I mean, kids can still watch them. You know what I mean? But mine is set for 18 and over. How could he even come back to this? A lot of creators have befriended locals who are continuously searching. Chris and Katie won't go even when they're invited. That's bizarre to me. Well, to me, I wouldn't go if I was them. Hell, they'd be in danger. People are following them around at restaurants, at their campsites. I wouldn't go either. I would be afraid. I would do it on my own. Also, I personally know people in the area and personally know people very close to this. Um, I haven't heard that, but I'll just leave it there because I don't get into that. But uncalled for. Oh, Ashley, I don't know. I don't agree with that one. That the most humiliating ones came from Chris. I mean, I just think, I don't know. I would think so too, that they can't legally release that info. It could be leaked out, but even then I wouldn't trust its legitimacy. Well, with Harmony's case, I bet you it'll come out during the trial or during the investigation, because in other cases I've seen it come out during the investigation. But I don't know. I would not go with any creator. I would not want to be the one to find my child. Well, a lot of times that's why police don't want the parents to look. His mom is part of Sebastian, and she hasn't done anything to show she is anything but a great mom. So you attack her and you attack Sebastian, in my opinion. Well, I mean, I don't disagree, because most little boys just love the hell out of their mommies, right? There's just this dynamic between a little boy and their mom. It's like really special. Not to say there isn't one between a little boy and their dad, little girls and their mom, all that kind of stuff, but just really special dynamic there. And yeah, I'm sure that would be incredibly hurtful. People are following them around because they have not searched. But how do we know? And how is following them around? I don't know. I just think that is way too invasive. I think that is absolutely wrong. For me, if I was going to go search, I wouldn't do it with anybody, any of these people that are inviting me that I don't know. No, I would do it with myself and my husband or whatever. And I don't know that we would ever know about that if they did. I would never stop looking either. And the way Chris and Katie have been treated, they are more than likely scared to show up anywhere. That's what I'm saying. I agree with that 100%. I don't think they were invited to the vigils. If I was Sebastian, I would never forgive them. If I ran, I wouldn't come back after they told the world my most personal, private information. Alex, I hope you have an amazing Mother's Day. I adore how you are always respectful. The amount of pure misinformation in this case is astounding, and people can't see the forest through the trees. Thank you, Nonsense. And I hope you have the best Mother's Day too. And I try to keep it like, it can be hard though. Sometimes I lose my cool, but I really try not to. But you're so right. People can't see the forest through the trees. There is so much information out there, so much misinformation out there, disinformation out there, so much bullshit to sift through. There's no way I could watch anybody and just believe what they're saying at this point. Nobody. Not that I would do that anyways. I think we always need to look for, anytime you guys are watching somebody, always make sure to know where they got the information. Go look for yourself. It's no matter what, with me, with anybody else. I'm going to tell you what we're looking at, where I got it from, and you go look for yourself. Shoot, my son is missing. I'm looking. Law enforcement is typically there as well. And yes, Amber, they never did. Chris literally went on YouTube, told everyone. It was disgusting. I don't know. I wish people that are just so emotionally charged and angry at Chris and Katie, just for me, you guys, just please, if you're like that and you respect my opinion at all, please just take a couple steps back and wait for law enforcement, and just remember that everything that is said, even about them, could be hurtful to Sebastian and hurtful to the case, especially if it's misinformation and stuff like that. I'm not like, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it because there were so many points I wanted to make about, for instance, the cameras, the 3-hour call, some of those things that I had my own opinions of. As far as like the power washer rumor. Let me tell you what, I've been hit with one on my legs. It cuts you. A power washer is it's like, I don't know, is sharp the right word? It hurts like hell. What if something happened to Chris or Katie by someone believing the misinformation and Sebastian was found and they did nothing to him? I would be afraid if I were them and talk to no one. Jules, I'm with you. Rainbow Mom says, and I have 3 sons. Oh, Lou, thank you again. Happy Mother's Day, Allie, and to all the moms. I appreciate that so much, Lou. Thank you. Just because we haven't seen them searching doesn't mean they aren't. Hey, Music City Mom. They are not safe. I don't blame the models for staying away. Amber says the case is weird. I do know that. You lose your cool on the right things, though. Thanks, Crystal. I am in Hendersonville. I wish Sebastian would walk up to the park. Music City Mom has been out there searching. She's been out there at the vigils. She's been really trying to help and not using it for anything personal, to gain anything personal, to not using it for social media. I mean, I have videos of some of it, but I would never put them out there. She's truly trying to help. Like, I just can't say thank you enough. Music City Mom, you are just such a badass, and I just love and appreciate you. Okay. So, oh no, Grandma Sherry, keep losing internet. Hey, they said that those solar storms are going to mess up the internet and could potentially, it's not going to, could potentially mess with our phone systems, our GPS, all those types of things. I think all the parents are innocent, and I can't imagine what they're going through. Personally, for me, I do as well. I don't believe any of them had anything to do with it. I feel like if Chris and Katie had something to do with it, they would have found the evidence of that by now, and there would be an arrest. Maybe I'm wrong, and I know that sometimes it takes time, but it has been a while. I think it's been long enough for, some testing and stuff like that to come back if they did perform anything like that. I just believe that if they were involved, they wouldn't be cooperating, passing polygraph tests and all of that stuff. People were mad that Katie did that last time she spoke out, I believe. Remember, with that news channel? And it's like, I don't think they should ever come on YouTube again. I really don't. If I could give them any advice, that's what I would say. Matter of fact, even though I've told y'all, I do not think my coverage of Summer's case was the best. Okay. But I made a video back then to Candace, and it was like just a short video. And it was like, stop going on YouTube interviews. Stop, because, they kept feeling like they had to prove themselves or explain this or explain that. And people were just exploiting the hell out of it, coming on there drunk and fighting and all the things, moments that, I don't know. I don't know. I personally find it odd people are focusing on following strangers and pouring energy into denigrating the parents of a missing child. I'm more concerned about their mental health, honestly. At the end of the day, we all have our opinions. The important thing is you can do it respectfully and with class, especially when we don't know all the details. Absolutely, Crazy Mama. I agree with that. Okay, so now, law enforcement has not done anything to the extent that would prove nothing happened in the house. Remember, cops missed it at first with Letitia. Yeah, but let's see. Within this amount of time, they had it all. Within a couple of days, they knew about all the stuff in the house. But if we think about it, January 27th to March the 2nd, is that when she was arrested? I think it was March the 2nd. I mean, that's a little over a month. And we don't really know what law enforcement's done either. We got to remember that. They're not going to tell us. That's the difference between law enforcement and some of these private investigators and dog handlers. They're not going to get out here and tell us anything. They're just not. Another thing is we don't know how we would be and act with a missing child. I know if I'd be bitchy and pop off at everyone, I'm sure that's what I said, crazy mama, a minute ago. That would be the one thing that would make me lose it altogether completely. Just totally. So anyways, we're going to move on to some true crime news because I wanted to talk about this and then maybe, show you guys some cases that you hadn't seen or hadn't heard of yet. And I think that I really enjoy doing the true crime news series with you guys. We just kind of go through some headlines I went through today, and there was a few I wanted to mention. I made a thumbnail with all the pictures from all of them on it. However, it would not upload. So I just wanted to get my thoughts out on some of that. And I respect all of your guys' opinion, but what I don't respect is just no matter how you feel, we got to keep it kind and respectful and let law enforcement do their job. And that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think that all coverage is good coverage. I think that's stupid. It makes no sense at all. How is all coverage good coverage? How is putting out disinformation and lies and bullshit going to help at all? It ain't going to help. It makes no sense. Oh no, Teacup, I'm so sorry. I hope he gets better soon. You're going to have to take him, maybe go get an antibiotic or something. My best friend is named Terry Lynn. She's been with me to all the vigils. Let's see here. What did Amber say? Because Amber says freedom of speech is a beautiful thing, but it comes with responsibility. And Crazy Mama said, I agree. And also, I will say freedom of speech is taken out of context a lot of the time. It is, because you do have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of no consequences. There are many different things that you can, think about the civil suits, defamation, things like that. But when you're on a private platform such as YouTube, freedom of speech doesn't matter anyways. That's the truth. You have to go by their terms of service. You can't have things in your videos that are against their terms of service. If YouTube would ever do their job and actually, hold people to their standards. But on private platforms, there really isn't any freedom of speech. Hell no, all coverage is not good coverage. Okay. So anyways, let me see here because we got some other cases to look at and talk about. Just wanted to have that conversation with you guys. Okay, so let me see the first one I wanted to mention. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. Nicole said, I have been in hold on, I can't find the comment. There it is. I've been in the Facebook jail a lot for things I've posted. Right. You can't. That's just the truth. It's not, freedom of speech isn't really a thing on these platforms, but Jujubee, they don't enforce terms of service all the time, enforce the terms of service all the time. I have seen people truly just harassed on here, and YouTube doesn't do anything. So here's the first case we're going to talk about. It's out of Lee County, Florida. Florida parents allegedly threatened son's accomplice to keep quiet after 15-year-old girl murdered. The parents of a Florida teen arrested for his involvement in the murder of a 15-year-old girl are accused of threatening the mom and dad of another defendant in the case, the Cape Coral Breeze reports. Let's go right there first, and we'll come back to this because I like to go to the local news. The Cape Coral Police Department says they have arrested the mother and father of Christopher Horn Jr., the second teen arrested during the murder investigation of 15-year-old Kayla Miller. Between May 9th and May 10th, Christopher Horn, 39, and Shanice Stewart, 36, Horn Jr.'s parents and his aunt, Veraka Stewart, were all arrested and charged with threatening, tampering with, and coercing a witness in the investigation of Kayla's murder. Cape Coral Police Department Violent Crimes Unit detectives say the victim reported that the day after the March 17th murder of Kayla and the day before the arrest of Thomas Stein, the first teen murder suspect, Horn Jr., and his parents came to the victim's home. According to the police, the parents told the victim that Horn Jr., known as Buster, and Stein were involved with Kayla's murder. They told the victim to follow them and bring along Stein. So, Thomas Stein has been arrested. He was the first suspect. According to police, the parents told the victim that Horn, known as Buster, and Stein were involved in Kayla's murder. Police say the victim and Stein say they feared for their lives and felt they had no choice but to follow them to the area of Gator Circle in Cape Coral. It was there that the victim says she and Stein were threatened to keep quiet and not cooperate with law enforcement, while Buster's father at one point brandished a pistol. Police also say the victim said they were also threatened by another black female who was at the location when they arrived. That female was later identified as Veraka Stewart, the sister of Shanice Stewart and Buster's aunt. The victim told police that they were threatened repeatedly that if they did not comply and stay silent, they would be killed. The next day, March 19th, detectives arrested Stein. The victim reports that Shanice and Veraka Stewart came to her house and again told the victim to keep quiet and keep Stein quiet. During this meeting, the victim said she was promised money to keep quiet. Between March 25th and April 17th, she received a number of phone calls during which the female caller, who was believed to be Shanice Stewart, implored the victim to keep quiet and not cooperate with law enforcement and assured that Stein did the same. I am so glad they were busted for this. I am sorry, but this is just absolutely ridiculous. The victim says the caller threatened and intimidated her, indicating that she, Shanice Stewart, had people on the inside and the outside that could get to them. During one call, the victim says the caller thanked her for protecting her baby. On April 17th, Buster was arrested for the murder of Kayla Miller, and later that day, the victim told police she received a call from the same person who stated, "They got my son, and she was not playing games." They've been charged with one count each of tampering with a witness. I just can't believe that adults would have and these are the murder suspects, that adults would do this. And there's Kayla, the person who lost her life. Pretty sad, though, because I've never heard of this case, never seen it anywhere. It's pretty crazy that you can have one case that is covered everywhere. Matter of fact, when I was shocked as hell to know that 55, because when Nonsense went through all the psychics and people who had made videos about Sebastian's case, she counted, and there were 55 different channels that were just psychics or spirit boxes or paranormal channels that had made videos on that case. That's wild to me. I don't know, you guys. It's unfortunate for sure. Oh, Claus, thank you. Happy Mother's Day. Well, thank you for the Happy Mother's Day, and Happy Mother's Day to your beautiful mama in heaven. And thank you. I love you too. Thank you. It is crazy, Ava. Hey, Bieber. Good to see you. Okay, so we're going to go. We have a bunch of other ones I wanted to look at. I just thought that one was wild. This was not one that I had planned. We can maybe look at it in a little bit, though. What am I doing, y'all? My gosh, you guys, it's been a day for me. It has been a day. Okay. Let me find the ones I wanted to get. This one, assistant middle school principal accused of torturing and murdering 3 people. In Alabama, an Alabama education official has been arrested in connection with the torture and murder of 3 people more than a decade ago in Georgia. On Wednesday, 45-year-old Keontae Harris, an assistant principal at McAdory Middle School in Alabama, surrendered himself to the sheriff's office. He was taken into custody on a fugitive from justice warrant out of Clayton County, Georgia. Authorities say Harris and several others have been charged with 3 counts of murder/malice as part of an investigation into the discovery of 3 bodies. On January 13th, 2013, police in Union City, Georgia, were patrolling Interstate 85 when they came upon a 2010 Dodge Charger. The vehicle appeared to have been abandoned, but inside, officers found 3 people dead. Investigators believe the victims had been lured to a residence in Jonesboro and forced by gunpoint inside, where they were later tortured and murdered. The victims, who died from asphyxiation and strangulation, were 33-year-old Keonez King, 43-year-old Keonez King, and 32-year-old Cheryl Thompson. It was not immediately clear what led police to make a break in the case. Jefferson County Schools said this middle school principal is on paid administrative leave. At this time, we are still gathering facts about the specifics of this situation, the school superintendent said in a statement before Harris was charged with murder. However, early indications are that the charges are not related to this individual's employment with Jefferson County Schools. He added, as more facts become available, we will act according to our district's policy. He started working for this school in 2018. So the middle school, he's not, that's wild to me, on paid leave for the torture and murder of 3 people. Think about that. Every time we do a true crime news, it's just fucking sickening, because every single time, and I get so pissed, I'm sorry, excuse my language. Every time we do one of these, we see people who work in schools and work with kids doing stuff like this. Okay. I was going to go to that one, but let me see, because there was one more. Here we go. That one and that one are 2 that I was planning on telling you guys about. So let's go here first. 16-week-old baby left with permanent brain damage from child abuse. An Arizona man was arrested on Tuesday after police say he abused his 16-week-old son so egregiously that the child now has permanent brain damage. Police were called to a home on Saturday because the infant wasn't breathing. Officers and medics got the child breathing again and rushed him to the regional medical center nearby. Because his injuries were so severe, he was flown to Las Vegas for further treatment. He remains hospitalized there, where he is intubated. Doctors told investigators that the child's injuries weren't accidentally, and Anthony Eldridge was arrested just before noon on Tuesday. Eldridge has been charged with 1 count of child abuse and 2 counts of aggravated assault. He's being held on a $100,000 bond. Let's look at the local news on this. Thank God the baby survived. Thank God. But, I hope the brain damage is, I hope there's a chance for him to have even something close to a normal life. Anthony Eldridge is facing 1 count of child abuse, 2 counts of aggravated assault. Again, officers and medical staff got him to regain consciousness. His injuries were so severe, he was flown to Vegas. There's not really a ton more information about it on here. But investigators did say after consulting with doctors, they determined the baby's brain injury wasn't an accident. Hope to God that he doesn't have the chance to ever be around another kid again, because I'm really sick to death of seeing that. Look at this here, actually, that we're about to talk about. And yesterday, when we talked about Melinda, the woman who was with her dad, because she was being abused. If you missed that live, go check it out. But it happened during the middle of the day during the trials. But she was being horrifically treated and just abused all to hell by her dad and his girlfriend, being made to put weights on and run and just horrible stuff. The woman who was with his dad was arrested, in 2008, I think it was, years before, for being with a man who was doing the similar thing to his child. One child was very badly injured and the other one passed away. She got out, gets in another relationship, and does that again. And let me add, this woman has a child in the home as well. who was very well taken care of. It's sick. Absolutely sick. And I'm telling you what, if you get on here, this is the whole point of my true crime news series. You can get on here. What in the world is that, you guys? It's birds. You can get on here every single day, and find 20 more cases every day. It's unbelievable how often these things are happening and how we don't hear about it. We hear about a very small number of the things that are actually going on. So here we have Texas mother accused of assaulting her 3-month-old twin arrested again after a $250 bond release. A Texas mother who was given a low bond amount after allegedly beating a 3-month-old baby has been thrown back in jail. According to the Daily Mail, Brittany Bailey, 31, was taken into custody in March on suspicion of mistreating one of her infants. She had twins. She's also being investigated for her potential involvement in the death of the other twin, pending the completion of the autopsy. Let me stop and just continue. I cannot get over this shit. Austin law enforcement officers were reportedly outraged when the magistrate approved her release on a $250 bond. She has since been arrested again and given a $500,000 bond. So this woman, one of the children, is deceased, and she is being investigated for their death. The other one, she's being charged already with assaulting. And they let her out on a $250 bond? What the? Shaking my damn head. I know. It's infuriating. It is absolutely infuriating. As Crime Online previously reported, paramedics responded to an Austin apartment on March the 10th where Bailey lived with her newborn twins, a toddler daughter, and her husband. An arrest affidavit obtained by KVUE indicates that police found one of the infants unresponsive, with Bailey claiming the baby had rolled off the bed. She attributed the injuries to her 17-month-old daughter and said the other child played roughly with the infant and threw a cell phone at her. At the hospital, medical staff discovered injuries to the baby's lips, cheeks, and nostrils, as well as bruises to her forehead and neck. Further examination revealed multiple fractures to both legs and a potential rib fracture. The baby passed away on March the 15th. I'm sorry, but what the hell is wrong with you? And what the hell is wrong with this magistrate who let her out? This is disgusting. Medical professionals said the injuries could not have been inflicted by a 17-month-old. And then blame your toddler. As they were consistent with an adult's strength and coordination, the affidavit said. Further, the children's father told police he witnessed Bailey being physically rough with the infant on multiple occasions but didn't intervene. He also described instances where Bailey allegedly struck the baby with such strong force during burping that it produced an audible thud, according to the affidavit. During a police interview on March 21st, Bailey again implicated her 17-month-old daughter in the infant's injuries. When questioned about the inconsistencies in her statement, she reportedly nodded in agreement before abruptly abandoning the interview. Daily Mail reports that a second judge, Brandy Mueller, was responsible for revoking the original bond. Let me go to the local news though for just a second. This should be like, I'm just so surprised that these cases don't get coverage. You know what I mean? It's shocking. But then again, I get it too, because there's so many things that happen. You can't possibly keep up with it or know about everything. Let's see if they attach the affidavit. No. A mother remains in the Travis County Jail as court documents reveal new details about the death of her infant daughter. Let me see if that will take us to the affidavit. No, that's just another story that they did about it. Okay. Brittany Bailey was arrested and charged Wednesday with felony injury to a child after her 3-month-old daughter died earlier this month. This came out at the end of March. According to an affidavit obtained by KVUE, the Austin Police Department was called out to her apartments on March 10th following a report that a 3-month-old was not breathing after falling off a bed. When APD arrived, they discovered the infant's twin sister unresponsive on the kitchen floor. The infant was taken to a hospital for further evaluation and treatment. On March 11th, APD said officers conducted a welfare check on the infant who had reportedly fallen off the bed and found the 3-month-old with several injuries, including cuts and bruises to her face. Bailey allegedly blamed these injuries on her 17-month-old daughter, again throwing a cell phone at her. Police said the infant was taken to the hospital where medical staff found injuries to her lips, cheeks, and nostrils, and then the bruise on the forehead and neck, fractures on both legs. Medical staff stated that the injuries could not have been caused by the infant's 17-month-old sister and that they were attributable to forces generated by someone with the strength and coordination of an adult. That is a quote from the affidavit. Police asked the father to use a doll to demonstrate Bailey's treatment of the infant, which included how you would hear a thud during burping. During an interview with police, Bailey once again allegedly said her 17-month-old daughter was responsible for the injuries to her deceased infant. When confronted by police that her statement did not match the nature of the injuries, she nodded her head in agreement before requesting to use the restroom. Bailey then allegedly left the officers and did not finish the interview. Wow. Bailey's being held on a $40,000 bond. Then we know it was dropped and she was released, but she's back in jail. Thank goodness, because Brittany Bailey, you don't deserve to walk free another day in your life. Absolutely disgusting. All right, let me check on you guys. We do live in a crazy world. It is very sad. I have not heard of this. I live in Travis County. Appalling. Wow. See, that is just shocking to me. Oh my God, because I'm just so bewildered about why some cases just blow up and other ones don't. Do you guys wonder about that? Because it just feels so unfair and there's really nothing we can do except for things like this. Go try, because there's so many. I look at this website often and there are new ones, like I said, every single day. Lots of them. Okay. Let's see. There was a couple more I wanted to look at. More. Oh God. This one. These are. Oh, they're just horrifically sad. I don't know. I think we'll talk about this one and wrap it up. We don't believe we know all that this child suffered. Top boy bound, thrown into pool, and beaten after adoption from Haiti. This is, not the first case we've ever talked about where a child has been adopted and then mistreated. And I just cannot understand that. One of the very first cases I ever talked about on YouTube was a case like that. And then I can think of several, actually. Hold on, let me see something. Okay, sorry, my computer was doing something funky. But I just don't understand it. I just don't. Victoria Rose, let me see. I have to go back to it was the Worst Cooks in America was the adopted mother of that one. And I don't understand it, you guys. I don't. And not only that, when you're working to adopt a child, they're supposed to, keep a close eye on you. For instance, you're not supposed to post the child on social media before the adoption is final. We'll see that happening in cases where this happens. And, many things like that I guess were never even noticed. I don't know. Okay, let's see here. Okay, sorry, you guys. I was trying to find something to show you, but I can't find it, so we'll do it later. A Florida woman is behind bars after police say she beat her adopted boy to death after throwing him into a swimming pool earlier this month. According to a news release from the Polk County Sheriff's Office, Patricia Santazar, 36, I cannot pronounce her last name, is facing charges of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and tampering with the witness. The charges stem from the death of her son, Brian Boyer, whom she adopted from Haiti and brought to the U.S. in April 2023. Investigators allege that she tied up and threw Brian into a swimming pool before allegedly beating him to death. What we've learned during this investigation turns our stomach, Grady Judd said during a news conference Wednesday. We have a video clip of where that 3-year-old baby's hands were tied behind his back and she threw him in a swimming pool in the backyard. And we're going to watch this actually. I love Grady Judd, and he can tell a story just way better than I can with the details, especially one that's so horrible like this that's hard to tell. So let's watch this together.
Thank you very much for being with us today. I am going to tell you a sad story, a very sad story, about a 4-year-old little boy and a sad ending to a very sad story. He was born in Haiti to a mother who didn't want him. And so he was adopted in Haiti by this lady whose sister was in the United States. It took 3 years for the adoption process to go through, and ultimately the 4-year-old end up here in the United States. It's called the Biden program, and supposedly it's a sped up adoption. So the child's born to a mother who doesn't want it. We have no idea who that mother is. The sister of our suspect is in the process of getting the child for her sister, who is Patricia Saint Azaire. Patricia's 36 years of age. She's already got a 16-year-old son that she has adopted from Haiti. The 4-year-old comes here as a 3-year-old.
I just want to say thank you to Abelis really quickly. We're going to keep listening, but they say, to all of you sweet, strong, loving, incredible, hardworking moms, have a wonderful, special day. I'm mom to fur baby Haley. Well, happy Mother's Day, and thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, Grady Judd is incredible. He really is. I wish he could be, I wish every cop could be, or every sheriff could be like him, rather.
Only a year ago. And what we've learned during this investigation just turns our stomach. We have a video clip of where that 3-year-old baby's hands was tied behind his back and she threw him in a swimming pool in the backyard. We received on May 1st a call. May 1st, the child went to the hospital. So why did the child go to the hospital? Heart of Florida and Haines City, but they live in Davenport. The little fella got off of the bus. He was happy. Everything seemed to be all right. The 16-year-old noticed he was happy. They were home. Patricia, the 16-year-old, and now the little dead fella who's 4. The 16-year-old notices later on that he's lethargic, that he's not responding. Patricia says he's faking it. Give him something to eat. He can't eat. He goes unconscious. The 16-year-old has been saying he needs to go to the hospital. He needs to go to the hospital. He needs to go to the hospital. Heart of Florida thinks he has a significant issue, sends him to Orlando Health. Orlando Health tries to work with him, and ultimately he dies. He goes to the medical examiner's office, and that's when we get involved a couple of days later. We find injuries where this child has been beaten, in addition to the video we found in the investigation of his hands tied behind him and thrown into the pool. We found an injury where his spleen suffered a significant tear. The medical examiner said it could have been nothing else other than an immediate hard strike to the abdomen. And as the autopsy went on, they found different layers of bruises and injuries from past beatings.
What in the hell? Why do you adopt a child to do this to them? I'm sorry, but what the fuck, man? Layers of bruises, meaning that some were healing more than others because they happened at different time periods, and this was a consistent thing that had been going on for a while.
And he's dead. He's dead because she beat him to death. We don't know, obviously, how he got out of the pool after he was thrown in there with his hands tied behind his back. We have a video of that. We're going to show it to you at the end of this news release. She's charged with murder, aggravated child abuse. The investigation's still underway. Her husband was clearly at work at the time this event occurred. She was the disciplinarian. He was a student at Laufman Oaks, and despite his abusive treatment, they said he was a happy child. And this never should have happened. Ladies and gentlemen, it is beyond my wildest imagination how anyone could abuse a beautiful little fella like this child was abused and neglected. But the investigation is still ongoing. We don't believe we know all that this child suffered. We have another video clip where he's face down on the floor and she's beating him in the back. And he's not even resisting it. It's just like it's a normal occurrence. You know, the positive, if you search for a positive, is that he's in the arms of God right now. And he's no longer being beaten. He's no longer being punched. He's no longer being tied up and thrown in the swimming pool. That now he's, as our Christian belief, that he's living the life there where he's surrounded by love and things are great, like he should have been surrounded by love and things should have been great here on earth for him. So every day when you see these little guys and gals that are on their way to school, understand that there's a small percentage of them that are being neglected and abused, and we need to know about that immediately. And when you go home tonight, hug your children a little tighter. Give them an extra kiss when you put them to bed. And thank God that you have those children and they are miracles, and that you have the opportunity to show them the right way, to raise them the right way, to teach them the right way. And then understand that we need to say prayers for these children that we have yet discovered. It would have been great if we could have found this child and rescued him before he was beaten to death. The 16-year-old is in protective custody at this time. He is obviously no longer at the home. Are there any questions?
there been any other DCF calls or anything to this house? Or either makes you guys
That's still under investigation. I don't know if there were other DCF calls there or not, but our team, our homicide team is simply the very best. The cases are difficult to work. Our victims deceased, we've got to work on timelines and time frames of injuries and types of injuries. And this was a very complicated case for them to work, and they're still gathering details and evidence.
How about with the school sheriff? When your investigators spoke with school officials, had they seen any warning signs? Is that on their radar at all?
I don't know if we've had a chance to circle around with the school officials yet to see if they've seen or heard anything, because we have been intensely investigating the instant event. That will be on part of the investigative protocol. But as you know, we release information as soon as it's reasonable so that you know what we know. And some of that investigation happens in the later stages of the investigation.
These videos, were they on the suspect's phone or who
They were on the suspect's phone.
And the 16-year-old, was the 16-year-old abused or
The-
also victim?
At this point in time, he looks fine. He was coached to lie to us when we first talked to him. After we got Patricia in jail and away from him, he then told us, hey, I was told to lie to you. So that will be part of the subsequent investigation, but there's no obvious instant injuries, but certainly that will be part of the follow-up investigation.
Sheriff, do you think that Patricia could be facing more charges than the ones that are listed here?
Well, we've loaded her up with all of the charges that we know about right now, but certainly depending on what the rest of the investigation tells us, that you can be sure that my detectives will file every criminal charge possible, depending on where the rest of the investigation leads us.
So was her husband never around when these abuse took place?
Apparently not. You know, once again, those are the layers of the onion. We're not completely through yet, but at least when this injury that caused the death occurred, based upon the severeness of the injury and how bad that the child would have regressed from the injury, he was clearly not there. Now, follow-up investigation will help determine what he knew, when he knew it, if he knew it. But if you can believe this, they've lawyered up. So when you lawyer up, because we're investigating injuries to your child and you won't cooperate with us, that's a clue.
You hear that? Sorry, my neighbors are outside. This is just unbelievable. It's so hard to listen to, and I'm so sorry, you guys. I know it is, but I do think that it's important to talk about it. I'm surprised it's not being talked about more. But in my opinion, that bitch's face needs to be blasted everywhere, just like old Kiara Jones, so everybody knows exactly what the hell she did. That's just the way I feel about it.
Oh no, she didn't.
Sheriff,
Scott.
about her personal life or something on social media that could indicate she may be working childcare?
No, she worked for ABC Liquors in the corporate office, I'm told, over in Orlando. She lived in Davenport.
Do you know how long she lived in States?
I don't know. But it's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. But I can assure you of this, that if you hear something or see something or believe something or think something about a child being neglected or abused, if you call us, I can assure you that we'll completely and thoroughly investigate it with DCF. Because our number one goal in this organization is to protect the children. And that's why we go after child predators. That's why we go after pornographers. That's why we go after child abusers. And we certainly go after child murderers. Okay?
Oh, I love him. He's just everything.
And they'll make sure you have the clips and what you do with them. Or we're going to show them up here, or are you just going to give them to them? Both.
Hey, turn your phone off.
Do you have the one?
Oh, shoot, I got my thing up here.
Okay, this is where you speak into.
Oh, God. I don't know about that, you guys. I don't want to show it. I'm sorry. I don't want to show any of it. What actually I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the link and you guys can watch it if you want to on your own. Whoa, how did I do that? What did I do? When did it turn off for you guys? I tried to remove it fast. I don't know. Then when I came back to my screen share was funky. There's the link if you guys want to learn more about it yourself. I don't want to show those videos. I'm sorry. I do think it's important to talk about the case, but and I know they're part of the press conference, but it's something that I would not, I just don't want to do right now. So I'm sorry. Okay, Tess, thank you. Anyways, so I had actually planned on touching on one more case, but I think we'll do that at another time. See, I made a thumbnail. The video had no thumbnail because StreamYard wouldn't let me add it to it. But yeah, I think I'm going to let you guys go. But let me see here just a second. I want to show you Brian again, which you can see him in my thumbnail there at the top left. But let me get back to this. So there's that precious baby. I cannot even imagine the fear that you would have with somebody who's supposed to be the one looking out for you, taking care of you, feeding you, everything for you. And they're doing things like this to you. At 4, your brain, I just don't know. I just can't imagine how scared you would be. I don't think that you would fully even understand what was happening. It's horrific. It is absolutely horrific. Oh, Pinche Becky. Thank you and love you. Appreciate that. And thank you for being a member 6 months. Kathy says it's important to talk about. But it's also not, it's okay to also not take it all in. What's wrong with me today? I cannot even read. We love you. I love you, Teacup. Much easier to hear versus see. I agree. And like I said, if you want to see it, that link, it's out there. They put it out there so the news can put it out if they wanted. Oh, Shauna, thank you for being a member for 10 months. I can't imagine that level of fear. I'll just drive. Well, come on down, Scott. But no, really, I don't know. It's horrific. And I don't understand the concept of adopting a child to do this. Like, if you didn't want to take care of him, then why? It doesn't make sense, any of it. It's horrible. It's horrific. It's terrifying and heartbreaking. It's okay. I don't think we should see it. It is too disturbing to watch. Yeah, it is. Because there's 2 videos. There's one of her actually hitting him, and he's just taking it. Oh God, it's just so horrific. And then there's the other video at the pool. So, anyways, I'm just glad that we didn't watch those, and because I didn't think that I got it to stop on time. So I'm happy to know that I did. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up there, you guys. This was a tough one. Number one, the first topic, Sebastian's case and the mess that's become. A lot of you guys that watch me don't agree with me. So, and I don't care. That's fine. You don't have to agree with me or whatever, but it just makes for like a little bit of a stressful dynamic with all of that, but it's important to talk about. So I think that we should continue the conversations. And I think some of those things were important, like the camera thing. I have cameras that wouldn't pick up one person if they walk by. That's just the truth. So, but that, it's a hectic and stressful situation in general. The whole case is being investigated by YouTubers. and their audiences, and it's just a mess. And then we go from that and get into some of the most horrific things that are happening. And these things are happening every day, all the time, every single day. It has become a complete mess. It's so upsetting. Yes, it has. We can have different opinions and still be respectful. I value everyone's opinion. Me too, Raising Grace. And I appreciate that so much. Thanks for all you do, Alex. Love you, my West Virginia sister. Love you, Trulia. And thank you. Believe you. Never understand going through trauma, abuse at 3, my age, and to remember it all. Oh, Claus, I'm so sorry. Oh, thank you, Carol Clark, for being here. Happy Mother's Day, Queen Bella. Oh, Nicole B., happy Mother's Day to you and all the moms out there. Well, happy Mother's Day to you if you're a mom or a fur baby mom or anything. Also, you guys, tomorrow I'm going to choose the winner for our Mother's Day giveaway, and I'll show you some of the different things that are in there. So make sure if you're a member, go to the tab and just leave a comment. It's going to be full of different makeup, of course, brand new in the packages, never touched, never opened makeup. Wax melts from Nay, because we love music melts over here, and all kinds of other stuff. I just can't wait for you to see it. There's like a mom's coloring book that has different phrases and stuff. Like one has a thing about hiding in the bathroom, and I got colored pencils that are scented, but they're scented with essential oils. So they're like adult colored scented colored pencils, and all kinds of cool stuff. So please go do that, because it's just one little way that I can give back to you guys. You guys are so good to me, and I want to make sure to give back when I can. So I wish I could give away like 10 of them, and maybe one day I'll be able to do that. But before we go, though, I just want to look something up on Google really fast. And I didn't talk about it on my channel at all, but some of the news from this week as Adam Montgomery's sentencing, if that was not the most frustrating thing, I cannot believe he would refuse to give up the location of Harmony. How often do children go missing in the U.S.? I just want to see if I can get some stats pulled up really quick. I use kids' colored pencils. You know what? Do I still have that little... I kept that swing set background from when I had you on for so long because I love that picture so much. And I'm pretty sure I had to take it off to fit something else up here. Let's see. Yeah, damn it. Because that is such, I would show you guys because it was absolutely incredible. The Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention estimates over 800,000 children are reported missing each year, with an additional 500,000 going missing without being reported. It's estimated by Child Find of America that 2,300 children go missing every day in America. 2,300. Office of Juvenile Justice.gov says May 24th is National Missing Children's Day, by the way. And last year they put out something that said on this day, we remember that some 460,000 children go missing from the U.S. every year. 460,000 children go missing in the U.S. every year. I got one more to look up, and then I'm going to let you guys go for real. That's unbelievable, though. I mean, I'm sure many of them are found, but I'm sure many aren't. Yeah, and these grifters talk about 4 months. Well, that's my thing, because you'll hear oftentimes when you're having this conversation about the coverage of these very popular cases, like, well, it's bringing awareness. It's like, well, if you truly believe in awareness, don't you want to bring awareness to other kids too? I mean, I don't know. Okay, so U.S. murder of number of victims by age in the year 2022. So I'm not going to use those stats. Let me see. Between 1999 and the year 2020, more than 38,000 children under 17 died by homicide in the United States. And this also comes from the Office of Juvenile Justice.gov. So between 1999 and 2020, more than 38,000 children, 17 and younger, died by homicide. That's unbelievable. Yeah, and he does need some new videos. I'm with you, Jennifer. Good, Angie. Yeah, I didn't want to play that for you guys. That is terrifying and sad. It's crazy. Adam is a coward. He's going to... I can't get over that. I just cannot get over it. It's like, dude, I get it. Like, you know, why not? Okay, you've already admitted that you did something with her remains, which the fact that we have to talk about this baby in that manner, using words like remains, it is just so infuriating that while you've already admitted that, because the lawyer's argument was he has a constitutional right not to incriminate himself. Incriminate himself with what? He's already admitted it. I'm sorry, but during the trial, there were many times where I thought, maybe Adam didn't do this or didn't do it alone. Maybe it was Kayla. Maybe they did it together. Maybe this, like, the story doesn't always add up. And Kayla's testimony was infuriating. And then you see him do that, and it's like, no, you know what? Maybe you are just the biggest, most worthless piece of trash that existed, because I can't get over that. Why in the world? What do you have to lose at this point? You actually could have gotten a much lighter sentence doing that, and maybe not spent your entire life in jail, which he needs to and deserves it, and he's going to. Believe that. Love you, Maria, and happy Mother's Day, and thank you for being here. But my God, that was just infuriating. I totally believe he would not give up that information. There is no amount of good in that person. I may not be a mom, but Quentin Simon made my heart love like I was a mom. Aw, Claus. Let's see. 90 children an hour. Think about that, though, with, I don't know. At least showcase the other missing kids that are in the same county as the one you're doing a live on. That's a good idea. Sad, most are killed by their own parents, too. I would like to know the statistics of that, because I know, like, with most murders in general, isn't it somebody close to you? Let's see on this Office of Juvenile Justice. I wonder if it would give us the statistics on that. Let's see if I can Google something. How often is it the parent? How often is the parent? See, I could say goodbye forever. It always happens. I get on here and I'm like, oh, wait, I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that. Oh, hey, I would like to talk to you a little longer, or you, or whatever. Hey, Arctic Fox True Crime. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Kayla's victim statement. Oh, my God, truly. I'm glad you brought that up. What a sick, sick bitch. Excuse my language, but you know what? She's free. She's walking free among us all in the public. After you sat in the front seat and listened to Harmony, listen to what happened to her, hear her making those weird sounds and everything, and you don't even have the nerve to turn around and check on her. And then at Adam's sentencing, you don't mention Harmony at all in your victim's impact statement. It's all about you, and if the possibility of a relationship is in the future, which it is. She thinks that it, in my opinion, it seems like she's wanting that. Because she said, maybe in the future, you'll talk to me or something like that. A history of holding parabens. No. Okay. I can't find like any stats on that, because it's trying to pull up, should parents be held responsible for their kids' crimes? And that's a whole nother subject. But anyways, yeah, all kids are hard to deal with at some point in their lives, but be a good parent and walk away. Keep your hands off of them. And you know what? If you feel like you can't control yourself or whatever, call for help. Call CPS. Call somebody like that. I promise you, they will show up to help if you call. We're going to continue to see more Harmony Montgomerys, more Cody Bigsby's, more Oakley Carlsons until we reform CPS and stop reuniting kids with abusers. That is absolutely true. And you know what? I'm here to do anything I can for that. I don't know. How do you even begin CPS reform? I know there's many people out there who are working on it now and trying to do it. But when I watch people talk about it that have had experience with it, it's really hard because it's a state by state thing. And I don't know. It's just, I wish there was a way. There has to be something, because reunification should not always be the number one priority. And oftentimes it is. And we're putting these kids back with people who end up murdering them. And like we talked about today, sometimes we're putting them in foster homes or letting them be adopted by people who are going to do that, who do that stuff to them. Look at Orrin and Orson West. Victoria Rose. This site has global stats. Oh, man. I wonder if I can click that on my phone. Thank you, Amber. Let's see. But anyways, I'm going to try that before we go. And then I really am going to let you guys go. If my phone would work. I hate Adam and Kayla both. They are both evil. Conclusion: children face the highest risk of homicide by parents and someone they know. Okay, it says parents committed their majority, 77% of children under the age of 1. Interesting. Yeah, she's free, just Patrick Frazee and Crystal Kinney. You're exactly right. Kayla even admitted to hitting her on. Yes, she did. It's unbelievable. It really, really is. But thank you, Amber, for finding those for us. I've been a foster parent for the state of Tennessee since 2006. It's a disaster. My brother was a foster parent. He is right now in the state of Tennessee. They have a little baby who, when they got her, she had a skull fracture and everything, and she was little, like just a few months old. And they still have her. And then, he adopted 6 kids that are all brothers and sisters that they were fostering. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to let you go. Have a great night. Have a happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day is tomorrow, and I hope all of you guys have a great day. And all the people out there who have lost their mother, have lost their children, all that kind of stuff, I know that it can be a really tough day for you. So just know that I'm thinking about you guys, all of you. And yeah, I'm so sorry. And I hope all of you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.